in one corner, weighing in on the wonderful absurdity of masked wrestling superhero spies and over-the-top campy tropes. Hailing originally from Southern California and now dwelling in Nashville, Tennessee, wearing an orange mask with a graying skunk-striped beard, Luchador Gringo! And in the other corner, weighing in on wrestling werewolves, violent vampires, and karate-chopping killer robots, from St. Paul, Minnesota, wearing a white mask and black hat with a pearly beard of ivory, El Mayo! Get ready for Luchador Gringo and El Mayo, a Lucha Libre Cinema Podcast.
Hey all, welcome for another round of Luchador Gringo and El Mayo, a Lucha Libre Cinema Podcast. Hola, Michael. How are you?
Hola, Dan. I am doing well.
We were just chatted last week, but we're following up quickly, trying to get back on schedule here. And what a flick we chose to get on schedule with.
It was. Yeah. I don't want to say too much about it right this second, but definitely some stuff to talk about.
Before we dive into the ring and wrestle with our latest movie, just take care of a little bit of business. Just want to thank everyone who have listened so far and have come back. This is our 5th episode. And so, don't know if you know, Michael, but that's only about another 145 more to go.
All right. Great.
About 150 movies. So,
well on our way.
But we have last week, we did do a double feature. So that's 6 movies down. Okay. So, and we're going to definitely return to Neutron again because we had quite the kick right to the head with that one.
Yes. And I will say that my copies of the entire trilogy have arrived. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that may be happening sooner than later. Also, we are on all your social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as we have our own website, luchadorgringo.com, and you can find the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Luchador Gringo. There wasn't enough characters to throw El Mayo in there as well.
Oh, well.
So this is our first solo Blue Demon movie that we've taken a look at. We visited Blue Demon before when he was with El Santo battling all the monsters, and that's the only time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this one is Arañas Infernales, or Hellish Spiders. And my apologies for my butchering of the Spanish language.
I think it's Arañas Infernales.
All right, very well. And this was, I believe, Blue Demon's 3rd solo movie, and the last one to be filmed in black and white, a very dark black and white. I don't know if that was the lighting of the movie or apparently this film. And I'm just going to refer to it as Hellish Spiders from now on. Michael can use Arañas Infernales.
I like Hell Spiders. I think that's a good translation.
And apparently this movie was lost for quite a while. There were no copies, and it popped up on Mexican television a little while ago, maybe a decade or two ago. And so that's probably where this copy that we got is from. But it's like I said, black and white, which is very convenient because they use a lot of footage from Teenagers from Outer Space and Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Really?
Yes.
So I'm very familiar with Plan 9 from Outer Space. I've seen that many, many times. I don't remember if I've ever seen Teenagers from Outer Space. But it definitely had that vibe. Like, was Teenagers from Outer Space, was that the 50s?
Yes.
That came out? Okay. Yeah, definitely had a big, giant 50s sci-fi invasion kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, and the flying saucers the basics of this movie plot is in a spider galaxy far, far away.
Yep.
They're running out of food and they need to keep their queen alive. And they've devoured all the brains of all the creatures or whatever beings in their own galaxy. So they've come to Earth to get brains.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think very highly of the people living in the galaxies that they've conquered so far because, or maybe they're just not really trying very hard on Earth, but they don't really seem like galaxy conquering kind of level threats in this movie.
Not at all. And almost all the movies except for Hurricane Ramirez that we've watched have had zombies in them. Except this is the first one where there is actually brain eating, but there are no zombies.
Right. Yeah. Brain eating spiders, spider aliens.
And a weird one at that. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. There's
quite the reveal towards the end of the movie. But
yes, there is.
So anyway, what we have here is the lack of wrestling in the ring that the Neutron movies had. This one made up in abundance.
So many wrestling matches.
Half of the movie takes place in the ring.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. I think there are 2 different matches within the first 10 minutes. Or 20 minutes. And it's good. It's standard fare. Blue Demon, the choreography of the fights and everything is, some of the best we've seen so far.
I would agree with that. I mean, like some of the moves, like the fight choreography itself, I thought was really good. I thought the way that the fights were shot were not very interesting. Like, I don't think like the direction was really great, but just the fights were fantastic. And it really reminded me of some of the wrestling that I used to watch on like Saturdays when I was a kid, just like, there's one scene where not to get too far ahead, but Blue Demon is working this guy's arm. And I just had this flashback to like these wrestling matches I used to watch as a kid where, you would just see like usually the bad guy just like working on like a weak limb of the good guy or something and just, continuing to go back to it and really making you worry like, oh no, this person's going to be injured. They're not going to win the fight. Yeah.
Lots of good flips and, leg locks around the neck and flipping the bodies over. And it was really fun stuff.
He does like some, Marvel Black Widow moves where he'll just like jump up in the air, like wrap his legs around your neck and like flip you over.
Yeah. And he's not a svelte,
no,
120 pound or my apologies to, Scarlett Johansson if I'm pushing it there, but, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he flips around, just like Scarlett Johansson's stunt doubles in the Marvel movies.
Right.
So he finishes up a match, and I guess he's got an assistant, Jose.
Yeah.
And they're driving around after the match, and I don't know. The match was at night, but then they're driving in the day, and it's the shooting day for night did not work very well in this movie.
No.
And apparently, when they shot at night, they forgot to bring lights.
Yeah.
And as they're driving around, this is when the UFOs are the flying saucers. These are definitely identifiable as flying saucers or flying pie tins.
Yeah.
And a car that passed them, they ended up finding that the driver has been disintegrated, but his bones are still there, and he's smoking, but his clothes are still there. And so Blue Demon has an explanation ready.
Oh man, he sticks to that thing too.
But yes, spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
And then he goes into, Professor of Science, Blue Demon.
Yeah.
Explains to his young friend Jose and the rest of the audience about neutrons and how it can, spontaneous combustion can happen at anything and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and his final explanation for everything, every single theory he comes up with in the movie, his final explanation is, well, the universe is a big place. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
And so my weird theory must be what happened.
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue with him. Otherwise, he might get some, his knees locked around my ears and thrown to the mat.
Right.
So this is the work of aliens, but they don't know this yet. And,
Right.
They call the police department because he's worked with them before. But meanwhile, these aliens have taken over an abandoned farmhouse or something along those lines. And this abandoned farmhouse, of course, has cavernous, catacombs underneath.
Yeah.
To do this great spider web lair that reminded me of the blind spider lady from Kroll. Who had Kroll on their bingo card of what I was going to pull up?
Not me.
And they need to feed the Queen of Spiders. Now, the Queen of Spiders came with them, right? The Queen of Arachnia?
I feel so. There was definitely a pre-invasion force that has been there for a while. And I think you just get like the narrator kind of mentions that you have like these people who've been there for a little while, or maybe they even talk about it because they're reporting back to her and saying that we've looked like humans long enough that people don't really look twice at us and
except for their little spider tattoo behind their ear.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's the pigmentation that they, for some reason, can't get rid of. Now, there's two aliens disguised as humans that are going to do her bidding. Well, I guess her assistant, the Queen's assistant, who's who the controls that she uses look like Christmas tree ornaments on strings that she just moves up and down.
Yeah, I think her name is Arianek.
Okay, they're all Iraniak, Arakalak.
Yeah.
But these two guys, one of them looks like, if you could imagine this, because I never thought even in Godfather, I don't think he was. But there's one of them looks like a young Abe Vigoda.
All right. I'm picking it up.
That was my takeaway. So they go off and, they start doing her bidding. One thing I noticed was now they have a narrator that does a lot of, explaining of what's going on, right?
Yeah. Oh man, so much.
And they also have a little newspaper boy running around with the newspaper, extra. So-and-so kidnapped or blah, 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 so-and-so, So apparently, they're on the case because they're, what are they? Oh, they want to find out why this guy spontaneous combust, right?
Right.
And it may be the aliens. And I think Blue Demon says, well, we might want to check for radioactivity. Because
at some points he adds the alien theory to his spontaneous combustion theory.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever or a reason why. He just throws it out there.
Well, Dan, the universe is a big, wondrous place, and anything is possible.
Of course, thank you.
So it must be aliens.
Reminding me of this. So they go off to investigate, right? And they get, I guess they get a little too close with their radiation detector that looks like a metal detector that old men used to comb the beaches.
Yeah.
And then this is when the pseudo spider queen lady who she reminded me of a Karen, so I'm just going to call her Karen.
All right.
And so she moves her Christmas ornaments around to do a paralyzing ray, which they claim they can't move, but they do a lot of moving for can't being able to move.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how much of the body it paralyzes, but it's certainly not 100% because they can talk and they can kind of move their heads, but complain about how they can't move.
I mean, they basically, I don't know if it was a paralyzing ray, more if it was just a severe stomach cramp ray.
That tracks. They were very uncomfortable.
And then I guess at this point, Abe Vigoda and his other goon, they show up, but now they've got these cool spider capes on.
Yes.
To fight.
Yes.
But this is when they find out the Blue Demon is not a foe to be messed with because, he's got them running scared at this point because they are unable to take him down. Right. But I love that there's one part of dialogue that came up around this point where they're going to they have to call in the reinforcements and they call in Iraq.
Yes.
who is played by an actor who his name escapes me right now, but let me look it up real
Fernando.
quick. Yes.
Fernando Osas.
Fernando Osas, who is in every movie.
Okay.
Look at the credits of the movies we've watched. I bet you he was in all of them except maybe Hurricane Ramirez.
Wow.
I think he's in more Luchador movies than El Santo and Blue Demon combined.
Wow, just as like bad guys and stuff, or
bad guys, good guys,
Okay.
various. And I've noticed that he writes a lot of the movies.
Okay.
I don't know if he directed any of them.
Yeah, look at his filmography. There's a lot of Santo and Blue Demon titles in there.
But somewhere one of the aliens throws out the line. It may have been one of the goons, or I guess his name is Arak, or he uses the name. Well, when he disguises himself as a wrestler, he's Okra, because we haven't been in the wrestling ring for a while, so we got to get back in there. But right. I love this line: "We will have enough brains to save our galaxy."
Yes, I remember that one too.
So when Arak shows up, and then the girl, Hilda.
So this is Jose's girlfriend, Hilda.
Yes.
Yes.
She likes it's sitting in her car, and she sees him, and he's not going to disguise himself at all. I mean, he doesn't look like a spider yet. Mm-hmm. But he's walking around without a shirt and a cape, and he's got a gold headband on, and real inconspicuous. And he's a big guy too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a really great presence. I'm surprised that if we've seen him already, it must have been like a smaller part where he wasn't really the focus, because he's remarkable, and I really like him as like the main heavy in this movie. Like he's one of my favorite parts of the film, actually.
Yeah, and I'm kind of intrigued by this actor, or this writer, Fernando Osas, and I would love to track him. I've researched the internet, tried to find more about him, and there's not a lot about him because he's not the main guy in all these movies. Mm-hmm. But I'm real interested to find out more about him. And then so somewhere along this time, Hilda decides she's going to investigate what's going on by wandering down into the catacombs. And they could have cut out 10 minutes of this movie, pretty much. Oh man, they could cut 10 minutes out of every scene. It is not as tightly edited as some of the other ones that we've watched. Scenes just kind of go on and on and on and on. But there's no frivolous musical number in this one. No. So we don't waste our time with that. A lot of, again, because we got to spend. It's like an hour and 20-minute movie, and we got to spend 40 minutes of that in the wrestling. Yeah, you could have cut out a match and given me a musical number. I would have been okay. So she goes, she wanders down there, finds a spider web, and then runs out, if I remember correctly. Something like that. Yeah. Like she almost gets herself in trouble. But I feel like maybe she even gets trapped momentarily. But then is able to pull herself free. And because I remember that was the point at which, as she's escaping from it, I'm going, okay, this is a galaxy conquering race of super spider people. And like one unarmed woman is able to infiltrate their lair, get captured, free herself, and get back out again with absolutely no problems. Yeah, pretty much. And that, because, Arak is not around at that point because he's busy getting ready. Apparently he made a phone call to the wrestling promoter saying he wants to fight Blue Demon as the wrestler Okram. Yeah. Now, I don't know if we said yet, but so they're really interested. That Spider people are really interested in Blue Demon because his brains are going to be especially tasty. So they can't just kill him. They have to bring him back alive so that the queen can enjoy the fresh brains. Right. Originally, they want to kill him because he's the only thing standing in their way, but they can't kill him. Right. Because the queen wants to feast on his gray matter. So what a conundrum. Yeah. It's really bad news for them. But I love this point because with Okram's going to use those two goons as, to help him go to the ring. And have we mentioned the janitor who has the spider tattoo behind his ear, who's watching all
that's
things
right,
going
yeah.
on at the Coliseum, not the Coliseum, but the ring.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. So they try to, I love so Akron's putting like a fake mustache on him, saying, with this fake mustache, no one will recognize you. I don't think that mustache is ever on his face straight throughout the entire rest of the movie. So Okram shows up at the wrestling venue and takes on 3 wrestlers all at once.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. It's very silly the way they make fun of him, and just I don't know, their acting in that scene is not great because he's like, "Yeah, I'll take on all 3 of you guys at once," and they're just like, "Oh,
yeah." And so Blue Demon's got to fight this guy. I mean, because the one thing I love about these movies is no matter what's going on in the rest of the world, be it alien invasion, monster invasion, zombie invasion, the match must still go on.
Yeah.
So he is going to fight Okram, and the doctor checks out Blue Demon, and his heart's good, and he's like, "Don't worry, my heart's good. I can fight this guy no matter how big he is." But the same doctor checks out Okram, and he hears that weird sci-fi sound effect, and he goes, "I can't hear your heart." And he's like, "That's because I have no heart. Now go, doctor."
He's that ruthless. He has no heart.
Yeah. All right. So, so the big wrestling match, and we alluded to this before, the working the right arm. I don't know what made Blue Demon think to go for the right arm. I didn't see that point in the.
I feel like there was a point where it seemed like Okram, I don't know if he overextended himself or what. I mean, and it's a good fight. Like, I like this fight a lot because Okram is tough. Like, Blue Demon is wailing on him, and Okram is just standing there and taking it. And, he's throwing Blue Demon around quite a bit. But at some point, he does something to his arm, or maybe I forget it, like how it happens, but Blue Demon kind of goes, "Okay, I can start working this arm." And it's not like, it takes a while. Like, he has to keep coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it. But eventually, like, Okram is really like favoring the arm and like holding it. And it's clear that like whatever Blue Demon is doing to it is having an effect.
So Blue Demon ends up throwing him out of the ring. And then what happens here? We get the reveal.
Yeah. So, well, this is even kind of gradual too, where the hand of the arm that Blue Demon has been working on starts to turn hairy, and it's almost like a werewolf kind of a thing, but it's like just the hand first, and then I think it starts to creep up the arm a little bit. But then at one point, like, he keeps working on it, and then finally the hand turns into a spider
puppet.
A spider puppet. Yeah, with like its own head and its own, the legs where the fingers used to be, and it's like got big fangs that he's trying to bite Blue Demon with. And it is ridiculous, but my favorite thing that happens in this movie.
And so at this point, he just keeps trying to thrust his spider hand.
Yes.
But it's not a hand of a spider. Mind you, folks, it is an actual spider on his like he has a spider puppet.
Right. It is a full spider in place of his hand.
And I think like Jose is watching the match or something and tells the cop to go do something, lieutenant, go do something. The lieutenant runs up there and Okram shoves the spider puppet into his neck and bites him. So we know it's dangerous. And we're wondering how is Blue Demon going to get, now that, and of course the crowd's all running out because they see the spider hand puppet trying and all this stuff. And, how is this going to end? This is the epic fight of the movie, and it's going to be grand. And then somebody throws a switch and the lights go out.
Yeah. Yeah, too much light. Which reminds me, like, one of the things I like most about this spider hand is that it's the first really clear look we've gotten at any of the spider features on any of the aliens. Like, so far, you mentioned how dark the movie is, and I don't know how much of it's intentional, but some of it is definitely intentional because they're trying to hide like their lack of effects, right? Like, so like whenever you see the Spider Queen, it's really just like kind of this fuzzy, kind of darkly lit spider face, and like the eyes kind of glow, and
she sounds like the villain from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I am not super familiar with that show, but I don't doubt it. It feels like that kind of thing.
And now here's the question for you. Do you think that spider hand puppet is the actual alien creature, and the human form coming out of its ass with the arm and all that is an extension of the actual creature?
I do now. I mean, they mentioned earlier on that when they're first introducing Okram and talking about how tough he is, and he's coming to Earth, and at some point during all these conversations about him coming, or maybe actually when he got there, somebody, and it might have even been him, were talking about how he has the ability to transform his limbs, and I didn't know what that meant at the time. I thought it kind of sounded like he could transform them into human form, because like all these people, all these creatures are supposed to be like spider aliens that have been transformed into human form. But anyway, I had no idea what it meant, but this is apparently what it means, is like he can transform his limb into...
He could transform his ass into a whole other human.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense because his hand transforms into a spider when he's really stressed out and kind of loses control. It's not like a special power that, now I'm going to use my spider hand power.
Right. And again, people, it's not the hand of a spider. It is an actual spider on the end of his hand.
Yes.
As if you've replaced the hand with a huge spider the size of a dinner plate.
Right. It's great. It's great.
So at this point, they get away in the car, 2 cars, and Blue Demon ends up chasing them. We've got a quick car chase, and they've got Hilda, and now they've got to test the blood of Jose to make sure it's pure enough. They haven't bothered with any other victims.
No, yeah.
But for some reason, and what did they cut into his scalp?
Yeah, it was kind of creepy actually, because they just again, very poorly lit. He's got dark hair, but it looks like they just kind of take a knife and kind of slice him, and then you just see like his dark hair is like dripping dark liquid. And
I mean, this is some real like Rob Zombie House of 1,000 Corpses type stuff at this point. Just this torturing going on.
Yeah.
I think it may have been because of that weird striped suit he was wearing, but
maybe his blood isn't pure.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't really trust that outfit.
And I like how they have to hold it up to, an old, I don't know, it looked like an old piece of stereo equipment to see what it was. So then Blue Demon gets there and he's going to rescue them. And then they've got they're using this high shot down these corridors. And it's very reminiscent of like an old Scooby-Doo cartoon, where the kids and the dog are running in and out of doors and the monsters chase them and they run into one room and they come out of the other. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
They need like some monkeys music like over the top of it.
And it's real chaotic. And they go in the door on the left, but then they come out the door on the right, but only 2 of them come out. And then the monster, then they bump into each other. Then they go back to the doors. And it's almost like that is happening.
Funny.
Cause there's no drama going on at this final part, other than the fact that just the good guys are trying to find the bad guys, and the bad guys are trying to gather their stuff to get out of there in time.
Yeah.
Like, right. This plan did not work. Let's just bail.
Right. Yeah, they give up super easy. Like, oh crap. Yeah, I don't know.
Blue Demon's too much for us. We're out of here.
Totally is.
And so the aliens escape, but it's like they forgot to, turn off the parking brake on their flying saucer because they are destroyed by their own death ray.
Oh,
okay.
These aliens are the worst, man.
No wonder they needed to eat brains.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's why they needed, we will take enough brains to save our galaxy. Well, they left with no brains.
Yeah.
Because it was evident that they had none.
I think like everybody else in their galaxy was like mice or something.
or houseflies.
Yeah.
So, and then Blue Demon once again gives us a little speech at the end about evil, good overcoming evil, or
yeah.
And
anything is possible in our big white galaxy.
And the narrator reminds us that we all would have been doomed had it not been for the courageous heart of Blue Demon. Quite the entry into our Luchador movie viewing. Yeah.
So like positives, like I like Blue Demon. I think he's pretty cool. I prefer him in color because, you know, if he's going to be Blue Demon, then let's see him blue. Oh, I also like that everybody calls him blue. Like his friends call him blue.
Yeah. I think that's blue. Pretty neat. Now, like I said, this was the last one they shot in black and white. So, I mean, we've got to see his earlier two movies, but the majority of them are shot in color.
Yeah. And I'm glad that like our introduction to him was in a color film. So yeah, but he's fine. He's cool. Like I enjoy him as like our lead guy. And I really like the 50s kind of B or even C lister, you know, sci-fi invasion kind of thing. Like I have a real soft spot for those kinds of movies. So like this kind of plot just always appeals to me.
Yeah, it had a very, like you say, 50s B movie matinee.
Yes.
Creature feature, double feature, monster robot blob, you know. Type of thing. And they borrowed a lot, like I said, they borrowed effects from other B movie or Z movies.
All for that. I'm all for like the cheesy, you know, flying saucers on strings and like just bring all of that to me. It's so much of it is so darkly lit so that and like again like a lot of it's intentional because they're trying to cover up like their lack of effects, but like my favorite part of the movie is when you see that spider hand in full daylight and it's not like a great effect, right? But it's just so charming. And I love that the boldness of, okay, we're just going to show this thing to you.
Yeah.
And I wish the rest of the movie was like that, where I don't care how crappy your Spider Queen looks, like, but show her to me. Don't try to hide her.
Yeah. What was that B movie that had that giant bird creature attacking?
Oh, is it like a giant claw?
The plane, yeah, something like that. It kind of reminded me of that kind of level.
Oh yeah,
it was a real ugly bird, you know, that you saw on stream. Yeah,
Giant Claw, I think is the name of the movie.
Yeah, no, Blue Demon's definitely my favorite because something about we've seen Blue Demon before acting with Santo, and we've seen, you know, Santo movies, like when we saw him, you know, fighting the zombies, and Santo has a definite air about him where he's like, you know, I'm Santo. Blue Demon's got more of a swagger, I think.
I was thinking about this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
It's like not. I mean, for some, like we just accept that El Santo is Santo, you know, and that is it. He's the guy.
Yeah.
But okay. Here's the thing: if Santo is, you know, the Jedi Knight or whatever.
Okay.
Blue Demon's kind of the Han Solo.
All right. So I was thinking in superhero terms, and I started thinking about this last episode with Neutron because, like, I've always like I like Superman and Batman, you know, as much as most people probably, but my favorite superhero characters are like your lesser knowns, like, I don't know what a good example is that our, you know, listeners would know, but I tend to like the, you know, kind of like characters that are off by themselves, kind of doing their own thing, like in their own corner of the superhero universe. And that's Neutron. Like I really love Neutron. But as I was thinking about that last time, I was like, but Santo's kind of like our Superman. Blue Demon's kind of like our Batman. Like those are our two big guys, and Blue Demon's like a little bit edgier than Santo is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So,
and I was doing some research this week on, because the movie we saw them in and where they fight all the monsters, the Mad Monster Party.
Yeah.
They come off as great friends.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they end up fighting each other through Blue Demon's cloned evil double.
Right.
Right. But, and I guess I was doing some research and I just got the feeling that these two guys were best buddies.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently in real life they weren't.
Oh, okay.
Earlier, before the movies, they were really rivals in the ring.
Okay.
And, and in the movies they mentioned, like in the monster movie, maybe Blue Demon finally cracked because of your matches in the ring. And Santos was like, no, we're like brothers outside the ring. It wouldn't happen that way.
Right.
And so I was kind of disappointed to learn that they really weren't that well, though Santos very much, even though, the Blue Demon movies were pretty much just carbon copies of Santo movies to an extent. And Santos would show up and it'd kind of be a stamp of approval of them. But they weren't the buddies that they come off as in movies. So I don't know. I'm going to do more research on that. I'd hate to, spread tarnish any legends or spread any falsehoods. But that's the vibe I'm getting from the research I've been doing. But
okay.
I like Blue Demon a lot. You had a certain affection towards Neutron, which I completely understand. Neutron's more of a superhero than a luchador. That's just, he's a superhero without a shirt.
Yeah. Right.
And Blue Demon is he's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Like in D&D, if Santo is the paladin, Blue Demon's like the Aragon Ranger type guy. There's something about him that's, a little more, I don't know, a little more chaotic.
Chaotic good, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Santo is lawful good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now we're getting into D&D, and that's a whole weird realm. But I think I'd give Blue Demon more of a neutral good.
Okay.
Santo's lawful good, except let's see where he just macking with anybody who would make out with him in his car.
Yeah, he didn't treat his girlfriend like lawful good.
But again, that's another movie, and go back and watch or listen to that first episode that we did that if you want more Santos and Blue Demon together. But this was definitely an interesting take because so far we've had a good mixture of different genres with the movies.
Yeah,
we've watched, and when we came up with this idea of let's do luchador movies, there was this fear or this concern that it's just going to be another movie, and they all have a basic similar plot, and they're all but the first one was I don't know how to explain the first one because that's just weird the way of all the monsters. Yeah,
it was kind of like a monster movie fest, kind of almost like a Universal monster movie. I can't talk. Universal's like House of Frankenstein or maybe
Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing.
And then
here, go ahead.
And then Hurricane Ramirez is very much a kind of a family comedy.
Rom-com.
Yeah. And then the superhero movies that we watched.
Right.
Neutron were definitely like just superheroes. Almost straight up, they could have had this, if they'd updated, it could have been a Marvel Captain America movie almost.
Yeah. Right.
And then this one definitely had a sci-fi horror feel to it.
Yeah.
So I've been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, same. Like I expected to be entertained by it, but I didn't expect the wildly different genres. That's pretty cool.
Let's talk Mask, Gold Mask.
If it was better lit, I would give it better, but I'm only going to give it 2 masks, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to knock it for the darkness and the production value because I feel the bad transfer may have, just be, like I said, this movie was lost for a while and refound. And this is kind of the point where I'd want to, I kind of wish we did half Mask, but I said no to that the first episode. So I'm going to bump this up just a little bit. I'm going to bump it up to a 3.
Yeah, I would give it 2.5 if we were allowed to do that.
I would give it 2.5 as well. So it's going to end up with a 2.5.
Okay.
Your 2 and my 3 gives it a 2.5. Just because I dig in Blue Demon. He's a cool, chill. He might be my forerunner favorite right now of all the ones we've met so far.
You know, if he keeps coming up with these crazy theories for everything, he is going to go up in my estimation. He'll only get better.
Because Sato took the spotlight in the first one we saw him in.
Right.
And Blue Demons was just basically a goon almost.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a coma for most of the movie.
Yeah. But I did like when we met him then how he just kind of walked in with that suitcase and I'm going on vacation, everything's cool, you know.
Right.
I liked his, you know, his short sleeve sweater and
for sure.
And in this movie he was definitely, you know, he was definitely the champ in this one. And like you said, everybody called him Blue, so come on, Blue.
Yeah.
Gotta go for Blue.
Yeah.
So that was Arañas Infernales, or as Michael would more correctly say.
Oh, Arañas Infernales.
Okay, Blue Demon and the Hellish Spiders. And Michael gave it a 2. I give it a 3. 2.5 gold mask combined. Good flick. Definitely worth catching just for the history aspect of luchador movies and to see an early Blue Demon. We'll have to track down there. Maybe we should get those other 2 out of the way before we jump into the color ones. What do you think?
I'm game for whatever. We can mix them up for all I care.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's what we've been doing. And that apparently a lot of these films have no rhyme or reason. So there's but they confused the hell out of us the last time we tried to figure out Neutron.
Right. Because it actually did have rhyme or reason.
All right. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Luchador Gringo and El Mayo. Again, thanks everybody for listening. Check us out on social media at Luchador Gringo everywhere. Check out the website luchadorgringo.com where we do post the podcast as well, as long as show other interesting things like movie poster art and you know, I'm expanding the website with more and more every week, so do check that out. Anything else in your corner there, Michael?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Buenas noches. Adios.